Justina, I'm so excited to dig in today and into your journey. And I'm just honored that you would choose to be a part of the Grant Writing Unicorn Collective and join us today. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Alex. It's really nice to join you today.
Awesome. So why did you choose to learn how to write grants?
Oh, well, I didn't plan on it. I can tell you that. I mean, I guess maybe, I don't know what the percentage is of those who do choose to just suddenly one day get into writing grants. It's like, oh yeah, today I'm going to wake up and be a grant writer. I got into it because my work, I had been writing blogs I work for a nonprofit, military nonprofit, and they needed people to write blogs for their Retiring Your Boots blog.
Incredible.
And I started doing that. And then they decided to have a grant committee, and they decided based on my experience in writing blogs, they wanted me then to be their grant writer. So I was
Nice.
voted in. I said, well, I will be a grant writer if you want me to, but I prefer just to edit. But they decided out of the team that I would become their grant writer.
Awesome. That has to be a kind of a huge vote of confidence, even if it maybe
It
scared you a little
was.
bit. Mhm.
It scared me a lot because, I mean, there's one thing going from writing for fun.
Mm.
I mean, I've written a lot in the past, but not intentional, not as far as writing grants. There's a difference between funding requests and then grant proposals.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're rocking it. So what has been your proudest accomplishment on your grant writing journey?
Winning the NAPE Expo's Charities grant this year, that was
Awesome.
huge. That was
Yeah.
a big one for myself and the grant team because the organization that I work for has tried 4 years in a row and
Wow.
they never won it. And this year is the first year that it's a brand new grant writing team
Okay.
with myself as the primary grant writer, and we won it. We won it the first year of this team's togetherness, and that was huge. And the dollar amount has not been still not decided because there's still donors are still pouring money into the pot, so it can
Oh,
be
very cool.
anywhere from 70 to $100,000 plus. And that's really
Amazing.
exciting. That's exciting. I mean, we won other grants, but I'd have to say that is the one that we're the most proud of
Yeah.
because it's they've tried 4 years in a row and they never got it. And then we did. And that was just a huge ego boost that our team needed.
That's so incredible. So tell me about what the funding will go towards.
It will go towards our brand new children's program for military children
Very cool. So tell me
for
more.
their about the children's program.
Yeah.
Okay, so America's Little Helpers, brand new. It's actually because of the grant team that it got pushed forward in development as quickly as it did because we started seeing this need. Grants were coming up specifically for children
Hmm.
and support of children, not just military children, but children in general.
Hmm.
And we said, hey, we have this great opportunity. We're really seeing this shift in funding for children. Let's do this. Let's do this for NAPE. So, I mean, everyone, it really took a village. It really took a village for these kids. And basically we're offering sensory kits, monthly activities. It's all virtual. It's all done virtually. Bible studies, cooking classes. I mean, you name it, but it's a virtual event every single month. It's different. And plus a Bible study. If they want to join a Bible study, they can. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not required of all members. It's just for those who want that,
Hmm.
because a lot of kids aren't being able to attend church right now.
Hmm.
And it was just, we saw there was a need because a lot of children now are growing up having to be de facto caregivers to their wounded parent who were injured in overseas in combat.
Hmm.
And it's really just an emotional support for them and their parents, but really
That's
for the kids.
incredible. Yeah. That's so amazing. Oh, it just has to feel one, so good that you won the grant after 4 years of trying, but then to actually have this funding go towards kids of wounded veteran parents is just
Yeah.
like incredible. It's so heartwarming.
Yeah, it is. And they have it open from ages 3 to 24. Now, like my veteran, I'm married to a wounded veteran, and our children are all older. They're over the age of 24.
Yeah.
But we have seen firsthand of, I don't like to use the word damage, but it's left its mark
Mhm,
on them
mhm,
and their growth and development and how they view the world, how they handle s- the isolation that they feel
mhm.
because they have a difficult time relating with other children their age
Yeah.
or outside of that because other children, if they have had, whether or not they're military, but any children that has to grow up having to care for a parent, it's it's a definite, I don't even want to say burden. It's just it's an added dimension to their
Yeah.
family life.
That's a beautiful way to put it, an added dimension. And it can be, yeah, it is hard to relate probably to other families that don't have that dimension. I
Yeah,
imagine.
because, and I'm not just saying military, because I mean, the military community is its own community, but I think any child that's having to grow up in a
Mhm.
home where there's added dimensions,
Yeah,
as we'll call it now, it's a learning experience for everyone and for society in general.
absolutely. Yeah. And to know that you are one of the people out there caring for these kids just makes me so happy. I mean, it's really, really incredible. Not only like, thank you for your service of, so much, but it's just incredible to see your legacy live out like this.
I wish my children would have had it. I really do, because they would have grown up having a better understanding of their dad and their stepdad,
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't have this, and there's a lot of hurts that occur within a home, and being able,
I
oh, and there's free counseling through Give an Hour.
Ah,
The other thing
amazing.
that our program offers is a lot of families in general cannot afford counseling,
Yeah,
and Give an Hour has donated their time to offer free counseling to these children and their families.
incredible. Oh, it's just going to be such a robust program. When
I
will
hope.
it start? As soon as kind of the funding gets in, or is it like the chicken and
No,
the
we started it.
you
We went on
started?
faith.
Great.
We
I
totally,
love it.
we had our initial launch, our soft launch at the end of July, and we
Awesome.
just kept trucking, and we were like, we went on faith that we'd find the funding. We felt that if it's, I know I don't like to sound churchy or anything, but really it's even those who don't have a faith base as far as traditional Christian
Mhm.
faith, they were even saying God winks. You know,
Mm,
my
yeah,
boss said, this is a God wink. You know, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And I said, it's already been decided. You
yeah,
know, no matter what you believe in, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
that's
And we just
really
had to go on
beautiful.
faith.
I love it. And it worked. It's
It
so
worked,
aligned. Amazing.
you know, and it could have not, but
Mhm.
that's okay too. I mean, it is what it is. But getting NAPE will fund an entire year of America's Little
Amazing.
Helpers, and that is exciting.
Yeah. Yes. That is so incredible. So did you do something personal to celebrate this win or with your team?
Again, I don't know what's socially acceptable, but we got together and our team lead had a bottle of champagne,
Nice.
which she popped and, you know, through, but we all met with our adult beverage of choice virtually
Very
because our
cool.
team is spread out. You know, we're all spread out across the country. So we met virtually and we met with an adult beverage of our choice, and she popped the cork of the champagne, and that's how we celebrated.
I love it. It's really cool that you get to celebrate even if you're at a distance.
Right.
Um,
But we
was
also do the celebrate the losses,
nice.
not
So
losing. Sorry, that was not correct. We we celebrate our losses as well. Maybe not to that extent, but we still
yeah,
celebrate them. because
Um,
that's what we're taught, right? In
yeah.
grant school.
Absolutely. So do you, on the grants that you've lost, do you reach out to the funder as well and kind of
Yes,
learn from those experiences? Cool.
yes, we do. We reach out, we thank them for at least the opportunity because
Mhm.
quite a few of them are invitation only.
Cool.
And because, again,
Mhm.
things that I have learned through learned grant writing is to avoid those soft, what do they call it? The cold applications.
Yeah.
So even though we may have lost, by keeping contact with the program manager, at least next time or the time after, at some point we know we'll win.
Yeah.
But that way we're developing that relationship with, funders as we go.
Incredible. Yay. You are such a rocking grant writer.
We
So,
try.
tell us about you just told us one great key takeaway, but are there any other key takeaways that you've taken away from learning with us?
You know, the key takeaway, I wish I could have done the entire grant school in one go
Mm,
instead of having to spread it out over I did it over 9 months, 10 months
mhm, mhm.
because I was so busy writing grants because it was brand new. And so we just jumped in and we were learning as we went. But as I was completing modules in grant school, I was learning things that I had done wrong.
Mm, mhm,
And then we had to adjust. I mean, like the cold applications.
mm.
I mean, of course, we should send a letter of introduction beforehand, but I didn't know that. I mean, again, I
Yeah.
didn't know anything about grants.
Mhm.
We were learning as I went. We were learning, I say we, because as I was doing grant school, I would then take notes and share them with the rest of the team
Absolutely.
so that
Yeah.
they could understand why we were changing our approach. And
Mhm.
one of those was sending letters of introduction. We did the funding strategy. And again, I say we because it is a team effort. Even
Yeah.
though I'm writing it, we all collaborate in a roundtable and we all submit our ideas.
That's very cool.
But, we did the funding strategy that we submitted in September.
Mhm.
But if I had done a funding strategy back in February, our world would have looked different. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, there's just so many different things that, the letter of introduction, the funding strategy, the narrative I learned early on.
Mhm.
That's one of the
Mhm.
first things that
Mhm.
you learn. So that was something, working backwards is absolutely helpful
Yeah.
because but it's an outline. So if you do have a college background, I mean, you do make an outline.
Yeah.
That's just normal.
Mhm.
So that was easy. That was an easy concept for me
Cool.
and for the rest of the team.
Mhm.
But you would have to say, okay, Justina, what did you learn from, go down the bullet points? Because I would tell you exactly what I learned and all the things that I wish I would have done differently. Like the acronyms, I had no idea because in college we're taught, I know now you've got me started, Alex,
It's good.
but
I love it.
when we're writing papers
Yeah.
for college, whether it's MLA or APA, once you spell it out, then you can do an acronym,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and then you
Mhm.
can refer to it as an acronym for the rest of your paper. But you can't do that in grants. And I didn't know that. I had no idea. No, that's not okay, Justina. So we went from doing America's Little Helpers and then referring it as ALH for the rest of the grant, or
Mhm.
Heroes Thanking Heroes,
Mhm.
HTH for the rest of the grant proposal, to thanking heroes. So then I did have to shorten it because there are character counts for a lot
Yeah,
of
for
these grants
sure. Yeah.
or word limits.
Mhm.
And so we went from America's Helpers, instead of ALH, America's Helpers, after America's Little Helpers, to thanking heroes, from Heroes Thanking Heroes.
Yeah.
So I will say that that is one of, I mean, I know it seems really minor, but that is one of those things where it was like,
But
I
it's
just don't
not
get it.
minor. I mean, I think for me, it was a new switch too, because I totally came from higher ed. So when Meredith was like, no, you can't let them use, like edit this out, you got to switch it out. And I was like, why? And just understanding that it triggers the reader to be like, oh yeah, we're thinking heroes, right? Every time that you mention it, it's just this trigger and it brings us back to the soul. I think that I wouldn't have ever thought of that before
I
taking
had no
this training and
idea.
meeting Meredith either. So,
No,
yeah.
that is something that was, I look back now, and now there are some grants for Newman's Own is an example where
Mhm.
you are given so few words,
Yeah.
so few
And you might use the
characters,
acronym.
where we didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
And I don't like using the at or the and symbol,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but literally in order to answer every question, they have bullet points. You have to answer this, and to get it within that 200 word count, I had to put in the and sign. There,
Mm-hmm.
there was no other way around it. And to use the acronym.
Mm-hmm.
But that is something, honestly, I had never even thought of until class. And honestly, Alex, there's just the things that I learned are numerous.
Nice.
I don't
So
even know where.
is your org now going to apply for the grants on your funding strategy? Is that your plan?
That's the plan.
Cool. So when's the next big grant deadline?
Well, the next one, I just finished my portion
Yay.
of the Hearst grant
Okay.
and the Bob Woodruff NFL. Those are the Bob Woodruff NFL. If any of you watch, like if you and Meredith watch any
Yeah.
type of football,
Yeah.
I'm seeing the commercials right now for that, for the NFL grants. And that's
Cool.
a big one. Those are the next two that we're going to have done by the end of this month.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay. Oh, I'm so pumped. So, what would you tell someone considering joining the Grant Writing Unicorn Collective?
I mean, I wouldn't even hesitate. I mean, there's just so many. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, it is not enough emotion to say, please do it. Don't hesitate. Just invest in yourself, because my the organization that I work for, they did not pay for my grant writing class. I had to do that out of my own pocket. And that was hard for me. That was definitely a sacrifice that my husband and I had to make. But I truly, I mean, there's no doubt that in my mind whatsoever, I can't see us even winning one grant this year without it. And even
Wow.
if I don't, I mean, that's just a reality. It is so competitive out there. It is incredibly competitive, and it's the little things, little grammar issues, the spelling, the formatting, the takeaways with, write your narrative, get it concise, get it, don't be so wordy that the reader just loses interest. I mean, it's just everything.
Yeah.
And that's what I would tell someone considering whether or not they wanted to spend the money or not spend the money. Think of it as an investment in your own personal growth.
Yeah.
It is for your own personal, your own. It's not, don't even look at it for whether you're doing freelancing or you're doing it because you're working for a company. You're really investing in your own personal self and your own personal growth.
Thank you. I have chills. To know that we've been this part of your journey is just humbling and mind blowing. I just am so grateful to have, met you and then been able to support you because um, all of the impact that is coming from your grant writing is giant.
It is. Well, it is for all of us in
Mhm,
grants. I mean, it
mhm.
really, really is. But honestly, Alex, you and Meredith, what you are providing to all of us that are taking your class, it's, I, man, it is beyond life changing.
Aw,
It's
thank
not
you so
just for
much.
us, for the personal self growth, but as you mentioned, for the lives that you touch, the lives that you can change through the power of words.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I think we have to end right there. Changing
Okay.
lives through the power of words. You have just summed this up beautifully. I am again, so grateful to be a part of your journey, and I can't wait to see which grants you win next. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alex.
Bye.
Bye.